Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Homefront Harmony, the podcast for military families providing you the resources that you need. Now, previously we had an episode with Bobby, and Bobby was telling us about his time in service, and he just wanted to tell his story. Now, what's amazing is Bobby was kind enough to connect us with his wife, Darcy, so we could have a conversation about her story. So everybody, please welcome to the show, Darcy. Hello, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I will tell you that Bobby was so candid about his service. He was amazingly just so straightforward about his time, about not being able to go back, and how it affected him. Now, you guys were dating before he went into the military?
Yeah. I mean, so our story's pretty long. Like, we've been together for about 20 years.
Awesome.
And we've known each other since we were kids. So I've known Bobby playing in the streets through like elementary and high school, and then like obviously our college life, military life, and kids and all of that stuff. So it's definitely a long story.
Okay, so you guys were dating.
Yep.
And then he goes
off to the military.
Yes. Okay.
And, like every story, right? Like it begins and we're young and, his goals are big and grand. Like and that's actually one thing that attracted me the most was that this guy has dreams and we've come from something that was very little, like, right? We were born and raised in East LA in California. And so here's this guy that's like, I'm going to go out and go to the military, go to college, do all the big things. And I'm like, that's my man. He's going to go out there and he's going to do it. And so he did. And he accomplished it, which I was so proud of him for doing it, especially because he had no gear. He was the oldest of 7 kids. And pretty much he was the example for them. So he really wanted to set that standard for all of his family.
Oh, wow.
And so it was it was awesome to be part of that. And I think the biggest thing is just being able to be beside him throughout the entire process, which was a blessing in disguise after now that I see it, but definitely a struggle at the same time because it's not all rainbows and butterflies. And
it's not
in the military, that's for sure.
Yeah, no. And everybody's story is different. Everybody's situations, their bases, et cetera, change and are very different scenarios. So now, I love that you brought up that he had the goals. We had Abby on, and one of her favorite things about her husband, Omar, was when they met, she said, everybody has ideas, but not everybody has the drive and ambition to accomplish them. And she was like, that was what attracted her to Omar. Same thing for you with Bobby. It was,
Yeah. I will say, and I always have to say this story all the time.
Okay.
Like, so Bobby and I have known each other since we were kids.
Yes.
But my sisters would always make fun of me because they're like, that's going to be your boyfriend. And I would be like, no. Because Bobby was like this one guy that just sat in the back. He wasn't the cool guy or anything, And I'm like, no, I wanted that drummer or something, you know what I mean? Or
she wanted the bad boy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who doesn't, right? And so when he comes, and he says this all the time, he left off to boot camp, and then he comes back and he's wearing like this leather jacket, and he's like ultra fit and thin, and I'm like, all right.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
He was talking to one of my friends, by the way, and he's like, I was just saying hi to her. I'm like, no, you weren't. I'm like, here I am. And so really that's kind of when we started dating. It's, we were right into this, going into last year of, pretty much I just had finished high school. And so he was off to college and I was off to, we were off to college, and, we went out. The first year he invited me to the military ball, the Marine ball.
Fun.
And I'm like, I get to do this all the time. Like, of course. This is like prom every year. I'm for sure I'm in,
She's like, he's in uniform?
A man in uniform. Who doesn't love a man in uniform?
I know.
That's like a weakness. Guys, if you guys are single, just put that uniform on. Just but anyway, so we kind of went into this world of, second year in, he knew what he wanted. Okay. He had the goals, he was accomplishing them. He knew, literally, I want to say within 6 months to a year, he was like, so how many kids do you want? How many kids are we going to have? And he was solid on what he had a checklist, and I loved it. I've always been like very prone to, what are we going to do? How are we going to get out of like where we come from and best provide for our future family? So we always had that in mind. And the one thing is, when we moved into to Vegas about 2 years, coming into, well, actually he went off to the military, and then he went off, I'm sure you know, like he went off to Iraqi freedom, like so in Afghanistan. And that really pivot so much different. I think that, all of the everything was like, oh my God, uniform and Marine balls and all of this stuff kind of dimmed down a little bit. Like reality really sits in you, and so, and you start thinking like, am I going to see him? Is he going to come back?
Yeah.
I mean, we were in this, we were fairly new to the relationship when he was gone.
Yeah.
And so, there was a lot of fear, right? Like we had all of these promises that we made to each other, but yet we were young,
right?
And we were like, "Is it going to even happen? Are we going to still? Are we going to make a family together? Like we said that we were going to make a family together?" And so, that really kind of dimmed our light a little bit, just because I knew that he was struggling being away, but also just going to war, and just, it was a completely different story from just going off to the military and being a hot Marine guy.
Right.
And so when he came back, like there was a lot of change that I noticed. And I think that as a spouse, like I never really, everybody says like, you were a military wife, and I wasn't, and I felt like at one point I didn't feel like it, because we were not jumping around from, state to state or anything like that. We were, when he came back, his biggest thing, he asked, he obviously got called back to go back to another tour. And I don't know if he said this, but I kind of was like, man, like it really broke you. Like it really did a lot of damage. Like, like, are you sure you want to do this? And he's like, I want to go back with my brothers. Like he kept saying that all the time. I want to go back. I want to go back. But then I was a little selfish, and I know that he has a little bit of resentment for me. I'm gonna cry now because I said I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't. This is not the life you promised.
Yeah. See now, so everyone remembers now. Bobby did not go full on military. Bobby went in as a reservist that ended up getting called to deployment, which is what happens when you are in the reserve. You can be called to deployment. And to go from regular life where you serve only certain amounts of times to actually full on being involved in a deployment is a lot on both the spouse and the service member.
Oh, yeah.
And true partnerships, you have to have conversations, because Bobby told us candidly about the damage that he took. He told us about the hit, the mortar. He told us about the stuff that went down to him. It is mind-boggling to have somebody be that candid about going through with something like that. Then to imagine the spouse at home, seeing what happened to them, trying to be there to support them, trying to be that strong to them. And it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I think I think a lot of me, when I tell him, this all the time, I think I was defending our future, like our family's future, the kids that we have now, their future, because that was, I think, again, like it's very right what you just said is, you don't have these conversations in the beginning. You always just think about that, the happy, oh my gosh, like it's great. Like you're going to be in the Marines, you're going to be, a police officer when you come back and all of that. But we never had that conversation of, oh gosh, you're going to actually go to war, or you're going to get deployed again and again and again. And I know I had like a very hard conversation with him, and I said, I don't want to have this life. Like it was so hard for you for me to like have you away and then constantly have you away all the time. Like that's not the life that I want, and that's not the life that I imagine, and that's not the life that we talked about, And so when he came back, he did have injuries, and so at that point he went into the reserves and he continued that. But the biggest thing I think as a spouse, that I never considered myself a military wife until I really understood what they go through. And I don't, and I can't sit here and say I understand, because I still don't understand what they've gone through.
Nobody would, no. Yeah.
Nobody will. But at the same time, like knowing now really how it affects a military member, and kind of trying to walk alongside them, but they still feel alone.
Yeah.
And that is the hardest, I think, was to overcome in our marriage was, hey, don't you remember that young couple that said we're going to do this and this and this and this and that? And we did. We were still doing it. So like if you would see us in the front end, you'd still see it, right? We'd still see like, look, Darcy and Bobby, like they got married now. They have their house now. They have their kids now. But behind closed doors, it's a completely different story when you're dealing with someone that also struggles with sometimes feeling alone.
Yeah.
Or maybe not as happy as what you think as a normal, like me. I mean, I'm not that normal, guys, but somewhat normal, like in regards
Normal's
to,
overrated.
I know, right? Like, but what we would think would be normal feelings, like, oh my gosh, like you have a wife, you have kids, you have like your houses, you have all of this, like, and then, but you still see that person slightly a little empty. And that was really hard for me to understand. I still sometimes, it's patience. Like I sometimes don't understand it. Like sometimes I'm like, hey, like I want to slap you and be like, hey, just dude, come on. Like, you know, you're here. But it's that patience of my practice and my going to counseling to understand how to deal with just being in that situation as a spouse and being as supportive, right? Like I made a promise, I'm going to stick it through. And there has been times when like in moments in our marriage, I mean, we've been together for 20 years, that sometimes I'm like, is this really for me? You know, and that doubt sinks in and it's so hard to overcome that. I think now we're a lot more mature now, but in the beginning it was really hard for him to come into civilian life not thinking that life was a war.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's really, I felt like it was so hard for that disconnection. And a lot of it too, is like he went straight into like police department, right? So he went into that defense mechanism. So he was constantly on alert.
Yeah.
And so I think that was like the hardest thing is like, hey, we're living, look, we're having a baby, we're having, you know, all of this. And we want that normality. And I've always seen Bobby try so hard to like bring himself back and back into that normality. But it took time and it still takes time. Like there's still moments that are really, really hard.
Oh yeah. My father had a saying that says, for those who have fought for it, freedom has a taste the protected will never know. And it's very, very true. Yeah. I thought he wrote that saying. It's somebody else's famous saying. He just liked it. But as a child, I knew my dad might not come home from work. That's kind of messed up. I didn't think he'd die, but I knew it was a possibility for the job that he did, let alone to have experienced what he experienced. So there are certain parts of my dad's time in Vietnam he never told us stories about. We were in a need to know, and those we did not need to know.
Right.
And I think that we've gotten better. We still need to get stronger, but PTSD is still, mental health is still not talked about the level it needs to be talked about. It is nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed of. It is something that you went through and you need help with, and that's okay. I mean, if you look at it because of the pandemic, the global pandemic, everyone who experienced the global pandemic has some level of PTSD from it.
For sure.
Okay? Some people were terrified. Some people were like, we're fine. I remember I do security, and we were trying to get people home from travel, and I got a report from the government, and there were people who knew they had a fever, knew they were sick, were taking medicine so that the airline, when they were just doing fever check, would see they didn't have a fever and let them get on the flight. And then people were like, oh my gosh, it spread. Because stuff happens, you know, people make decisions. But I think that it is, until you have experienced it as a spouse, and it's extremely hard when the person you love is hurting. Yeah. I hate it when I can't fix it.
Oh, yeah.
I fix things. Yeah. That's what I do. I'm a fixer.
Yeah.
You know, it's very
hard. Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the beginning of our marriage. Like, well, once he came back and, we started having, our family. We have 2 boys. And so it was a lot of fixing. I felt like I constantly had to like help, kind of, like try to help him out. Like try to like say, okay, well, you know what? Let me just figure this out. Like, let me figure it out. I felt like there was some kind of, he could only deal with so much in regards to stress. And that was a lot to do with the PTSD. And it was just, he needed to save energy for other things. Like if he was in the police department, it was very much so as I have to go to work tonight. And so like, let me be. And I was always trying to like make sure he was comfortable in some way, because I wanted him to succeed and I wanted him to feel good. And I would rather him fall apart in front of me than in front of everybody, and that was a big toll of me. And I was, young, like, I was in my like early 20s when I had our first son. And so it was a lot for me. And I myself was doing my own career and trying to be mom and wife and try to understand like I kind of there was a point in my life that I was so upset. I was so mad. Like I was like, you came back broken. Like why? And so it was really upsetting to me because especially when he first came back before we even had kids, because I felt like this was not fair.
Yeah.
Why do I, and I think that's not spoken a lot about. It's that wives do feel that effect and we do carry on and we still have to carry on with the kids and we still have to carry on with work because a lot of us still have careers and things that we still need to smile and say everything's okay. But, I think overall it was a great, it's been amazing to be able to be a part of it. And Bobby and I, although we've had our challenges throughout the 20 years, we lately we've been sitting back and looking and saying, but we did it.
Yeah.
Like we went through it. Like, we went through all this craziness and like how many times did I say I was going to leave and how many times was I going to say I'm done? Like, it's true. Like it was, those were conversations constantly in a big some of our marriage, because you do feel like you are making up for the other person a lot when they're not there. But counseling does help understand somewhat of how you can not feel resentment, because of what, and whenever I feel that, I step back and I'm like, this guy went to fight for my freedom. This guy went to fight for my kids' freedom, for my family's freedom, for our country. And I sit back and I'm like, Darcy, shut the hell up. Like, stop it, And so it takes me back to that, hey, like, this nobody said it was going to be easy.
No. And the thing is, I mean, there are unusual circumstances when it is a military or a first responder family that you do scenarios that not everybody would deal with. The key to any full partnership, and I think any relationship has to be a partnership to survive. And I think the key to a successful partnership is being each other's safe space.
Yeah.
Allowing that moment. And especially when it's a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
They don't like feeling weak. They don't like feeling like they don't have something handled. But you've got to be able to do that. I am a ridiculously independent, strong woman. And so I don't get vulnerable really easy. And it took me 40 years to find my husband. And when I found him, it took me a bit to like trust and let myself have the safe space with him because he accepts me for who I am and how I am. And so it is that dynamic. And it's harder when they're hurting and you're trying to figure out how you can help.
Yeah.
And you can't always figure out how you can help, and they're not always able to vocalize what they need or where they're at.
I think the biggest struggle, and this is just what I've seen myself, is, you saw Bobby, he's big, he's just, you walk in, he's not going to be scared.
No.
And so the biggest thing, and I constantly tell him like, come on, dude, like, come here, let me love you a little bit, know, because I feel like they constantly feel like they have to be that strong person, like I fought for this country. I'm going to show this muscle. This is me and that's it. Like, I wish so many military and veterans too, like, I wish they knew how much we admire them, but how much we love them. And it's okay to break down. We're all human.
Right.
And so I think that I constantly have to remind Bobby, like, come here. Like, I'm going to love you. And he's like, oh God, here we go, But they need that. And it's okay to put your guard down, especially with you. Like, veterans need people around them. Although they tend to disconnect a lot, they need, like, I pressure Bobby so much on just being social.
Yeah.
I am surprised that he said yes to the podcast.
We were so excited to have him.
I was like, wait, what?
So candid. I loved it.
I was like, wait, what? You're going to a what? And that made me so happy for him, because I felt like that's what you need to do. And I know that he is a very of service person, like constantly of service, like his fulfill, like his love language, everything is about service.
Yep.
And so I felt like this podcast, I hope, at least his podcast, helps like other veterans understand that, hey, like, this is the way you're feeling is normal. Of, it's totally normal for what and I think it's taken me a long time. It's taken me years to understand him and to try to understand him. But as a spouse, I feel like we also do have a duty when we do sign up for this type of marriage, to be a little bit more patient, and to try to understand.
You end up having to learn it because the scenarios are so vast. What was very cool was when we did his episode, we actually had Jimmy Pew Pew on.
Okay.
And Jimmy is a vet, and he is a very candid. He will post on social media how he's feeling, what he's doing. He works with U.S. Vets. He helps homeless vets find a place to be. He's phenomenal. He's involved in all kinds of groups. And Bobby got to hear part of the podcast with Jimmy and shake his hand. And I was so glad to hear that, because I think that the military community is tight-knit and it's great, but there's still so many on the fringe that don't know. And a lot of times, especially with the mental health and the PTSD, it's supporting other veterans, working with other veterans, where you guys can have those conversations, where you can be, that really makes a marked difference,
Yeah. I think it's like their brains are wired to protect one another and to protect like people, right? And I think that having that community is so important for them.
It's huge.
It really
and
is.
Counseling's helpful, but if this therapist hasn't experienced anything you've experienced,
right,
you're going to benefit far more talking to another individual who understands, has that same perspective, and I think that's huge, because that helps so many. And that's what we say, even if one person was helped.
Yeah.
All right, we did something there.
Yeah.
We did something.
Yeah.
I mean, they say the number of 22 suicides a day of veterans. It's actually higher than that. And it's scary. Yeah. And it's because people feel alone or lost, or there's no one else who will understand,
And that's the reason why I'm such a big believer of just us being just nicer to each other and to veterans. I think a lot of the times we forget that, when we see a veteran on the street, or, an older person that has served, like, take the time to thank them, take the time to, I feel like they need that. They need that, because a lot of them are alone in this battle. A lot of them don't have a spouse to hold them up. Yeah. A lot of them don't have the community. And so, that is one of the biggest concerns in the military community is obviously the suicide rates, because you do see a lot of these veterans, they are normally fine, like they're with friends, but maybe they don't have like that one backbone. And I think that even having that one person to go to that can understand you as much as possible, right? Is so important to like cling to that person.
Oh, absolutely. We had Scott Intake Carvent on the episode. Now, he's a former Blue Angel. Now he's president of Blue Angels Foundation. And his son's Naval Academy roommate ended up killing himself just a few years ago. And it really impacted him to push the Blue Angels Foundation to really start focusing on that suicide and prevention of it. And one of the things he brought up that I thought was great was he said, a lot of people now say thank you for your service, which is great, because we didn't have that for years. And I said, people spit on my father when he was in uniform when he was younger. I said, I love that. And he goes, but what you really need to ask is, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you
Simple.
okay?
I think that when someone is so down on their feelings and their, just the way of like, how are you doing? Yeah. Just makes you feel like someone does care, or at least took the time to ask, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's so it is I love being part of the community. I love being part of them, especially with Bobby and seeing him around his brother, his Marines and his brothers. How he says it.
That's how they feel.
It's a big thing, it's a huge, and so we go out of our way all the time to still keep those relationships going because I know it's important for him, but it's also important for me to see him happy and in his space, to be that support. I think as a spouse, we have to be that support. And sometimes it does get hard. Sometimes I feel like, am I doing a little bit more than you are? And then you have to sit back and say, maybe you are, but that's okay. It's, this is someone that at one point he was our lead. He was the one that was leading our family. And maybe like right now I'm picking up and saying, all right, it's my turn. Let's switch gears. And it can go back and forth as we age, right? Like now we have our kids and we have our almost 14-year-old and our 7-year-old. And the biggest thing is now it's a conversation of they see, we were hanging pictures recently and they saw pictures of Bobby in the military, and we don't really show it off too much. Like we don't talk so much about the military. They see, dad's uniform and things like that, but we don't really talk about it as much. And recently, they were like, wow, is that dad? Is that dad? Dad had hair, And, but we want our kids to say, like, you choose whatever you want to do in life. And if it's going to be the military, that's completely fine. But we also we're very transparent with, it's all great, but this is a sacrifice too.
Yeah.
And be very clear about that because we have gone, and Bobby has gone through that sacrifice. And so we want our kids to know, like, it's not all cool. There's a lot of sacrifice,
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, Bobby was very candid about, first he had his own physical that he brought back from the war. And then when he couldn't go, and he lost brothers and the survivor's guilt was messing with his head and pulling him back. And everybody goes through different reactions, different emotions. It's a varied thing. But you do have to tag team. And that's true in any relationship you're in. You have to tag team.
Oh yeah.
My mother and I are extremely close. I love her to death. But there are times and moments where she needs me to be strong for her, especially now that dad's gone. So my sister and I got your back, and then there's other times we need her to be strong for us and she's got our back. And it's the same thing in a marriage. It's just when you deal with that military aspect, especially when you're dealing with combat time. Yeah. It's a whole different ballgame.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I've learned how to tag team a lot. Believe me, one thing that we've said to each other is like, we both can't melt at the same time. We both have to, one of us has to give, one of us, and so there's those little breaking moments, but it's rebuilt us. Like it has, and over time, like now that, we're getting to this point in our life where our kids are a little bit older and we're starting to see, like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. You're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Like, let's just figure this out. Yeah. If you're going to break down today, all good. I got you. And if I'm going to break down, just hear me out and just, and so it's a beautiful thing, but it definitely is a lot of work.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's a very different. So my husband and I were older, so we communicated really well when our relationship first started. And then we went through a patch where we had to kind of rework how we were communicating because you grow. And it's funny because he is an only child and I am the youngest of two. And most of the time you wouldn't know he's an only child. He actually does a very good job of not, but every once in a while, the only child comes out. And those are the areas I work on my communication. Yeah. Because I got to figure out how I'm going to get the message because it doesn't register in his head. Yeah. And, he's not thinking anything. And he's not a bad guy. He's just a human being having a human reaction. Right. There's certain things. It's funny. A lot of people think I'm the older sister because I'm,
headstrong.
We'll say stubborn.
Headstrong.
We'll use that word and a nicer word. But, and I don't really care.
Yeah.
You be who you are. But it is a very interesting. My bosses have a statement they've used, I've quoted a lot, that says, when you're green, you grow, and when you're ripe, you rot. Yeah. And I think that successful relationships, you do have to have areas of growth and change and movement and
I feel like God always knows like what he's doing. Sometimes you question it. I question it a lot sometimes. But I come from a single mom, raised four of my sisters by herself. So we're very strong-minded women, very gear oriented in regards to like, if it needs to happen, we'll make it happen. We'll figure it out how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen.
Right.
And so I feel like there is a point where I'm so grateful to have that childhood, because I feel like it did kick in a lot.
Yeah.
With him being away and then him coming back and then someone falling apart a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I never sat back and said, all right, well, let's just crumble.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, all right, Bobby, let's do this. Let's figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And it's constant. It's a constant in our relationship. And I feel like I'm so thankful that like I was able to be like, that I was raised by my mom.
Yeah.
Because it made me so strong. Because I know some women out there, they fall apart. And I'm like, girls, come on, let's just pick it up a little bit. Like, and I'm so happy that I'm able to be that strong backbone in moments when he used to fall apart,
Oh yeah. It's a conversation I've had a lot. So I don't like feelings or emotions. And now that I'm 50, I don't get to control how my feelings and emotions go. And it's really fun. And for years, my sister has always been, it is not weak to cry. I always felt it was weak to cry.
Oh, yeah.
But I am discovering the strength you can have in allowing yourself the relief to let it out. And you can come back so much stronger to support or be there for someone else because you gave yourself that grace. Yeah. And we don't give ourselves grace.
We don't. And I think, we don't. And the one thing too is that people, when you are open enough to let yourself kind of just feel and just kind of, I always say like, look, sometimes I'm all jumping around on social media and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And then my time to break down is usually in the shower when I'm like, oh my God, what's going on?
The shower is my safe space.
The shower is my safe space. Nobody knows they're crying because you're all wet. So
my mother taught me that. I love it. I love it.
My mom did too. She's like, if you're going to cry, Darcy, go take a shower. Yeah. And I'm like, and I still do it. I'm like, I'm going to go take a shower, but it's okay because, now, for example, I want my kids to know it's okay to have emotions. I love the fact that Bobby, the biggest thing, and I will rave about him the most, is that he is the best father I could have asked for my kids.
That's awesome.
Like he has them. I think that overall, that's like the one thing that makes me the most proud of is that he is a father that's so in tune with his kids, that really loves his kids. And, my fear was that the military had broken that part of him of like not showing that love and affection to the boys because they're boys. And it didn't. And that's awesome. One thing I'm so grateful to God that he did not do is that he still shows love. He shows emotion in front of them. Whether it's good or bad, he will show it, but he still loves his kids and shows them and hugs them and kisses them. And that in itself, that is so worth for me to go over this all over again and again and again and again.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, everybody's different. Okay. Let's understand this for a fact. So, I am a person who handles a situation and then I react to it later. And it's very good for my life and security that I do that because you got to handle the situation and then you can react later. And that part of that is because I don't like that I have emotions or whatever with my stuff. Now, my sister's always been very open with her emotions. She has no shame in it. She handles and she reacts where she reacts. She's still perfectly capable, still perfectly strong, still does stuff, just handles a little different than I do. My husband actually softens me and I think makes me kinder. He is this 6'2", broad-shouldered man that intimidates people just walking in a room. He is the nicest man you've ever met. Don't make him mad, but He's the nicest man you've ever met. He's very kind. He's very caring. He puts people first. He's amazing. He is a gigantic teddy bear. Yeah. And I love that. And it makes it easier for me to let my guards down.
Yeah.
Be softer for me, So we all get something from each other.
Sure.
That helps us grow. I love that he's such a good dad and that purpose there for him is so strong.
Oh, yes.
Especially being a person for acts of service, being his heart, you forget yourself.
Yeah.
So having those kids be a focus is something that's actually really good for himself.
Oh, for sure. And I think that has kept him really going strong because I know that he still struggles. I think that the boys really keep him up to just on his feet constantly.
Yeah.
And keeps him going.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest blessing that we have had is these kids coming into our lives at the right moment.
Yeah.
At the right moment. Where I felt like Blake, for example, our oldest, he's 14 years old almost. He came in right where I felt Bobby needed him to come in.
Okay.
And really enlighten him and push him and I mean, he went through his master's degree and Blake was little and he would sleep on his chest while Bobby was studying. Aww. But I even have a picture of them doing that. And I'm like, I kind of saw that Bobby back when we were in high school and promising all these different things. And in college, I saw him back and saying, okay, this is exactly what this man needed to keep going. Because if we didn't have any kids, I don't know if he would, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe it would have, it would have been great, but he really just needed that fuel.
He is one of those people who was destined to be a dad. Some people in life are destined to be parents. I always thought I'd be a mom, but by the time I met my husband, we had an honest to God conversation about it. We decided we're just going to rescue fur babies, and we have the most amazing niece and nephew ever, and his cousins have adorable kids, and we'll just dote on them. We're good with it. Yeah. But there are people who I think are absolutely just destined in life to be parents, and they are very good at it too.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal to see.
Yeah.
So I love that. So now he's struggling, but you're supporting. And you thought, you know what? I'm not busy enough, so I'm going to go into real estate.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Was it always a thing for you, real estate?
We moved over to Las Vegas because he went into the Henderson Police Department. Yes. And then I went into UNLV, the only college that would take me in at that time. I'm just kidding. No, my mom was very proud of me for going into university. I went in for architectural design initially.
Okay.
And I got a job in property management, just being a leasing agent. And I honestly fell into the profession, I guess, the industry.
Okay.
And so I love it. I've been doing it for 18 years since I've been doing real estate.
Nice.
And I love the people I work with. I love our community here in real estate. So I'm very blessed. And I think going back into being a spouse in the military, I am so blessed to be able to have a career that is flexible enough that I can still be there, with my family and have that time with, my husband, and we're able to travel and do all these good things, know. So we are super blessed, we are. And, although there's a lot of struggles, everybody has those moments.
Yeah.
When we sit back, we love it, and we love it. And, real estate has been my thing for a very long time. I enjoy it a lot. And I don't know what else I would do if I really don't know what I would do.
Now, we talk about small community, military community and such. Vegas is a very small town because Darcy knows my husband, Jim.
Yeah.
And before she was on my podcast, she was doing videos with him out of the Las Vegas Motor Coach Resort.
Yeah, Vegas is amazing.
It is.
I mean, you can't take me away from Vegas. We travel a lot, and I come back home, and I'm like, I love it. And I love the sun. I love my cactuses. I'm good in Vegas. You know, it's a great community out here. That's why I tend to try to pull everybody I know to Vegas. My sisters, my cousins, everybody. Yeah. I'm like, move to Vegas, please.
We're so spoiled. His parents and my parents live like a block apart. My sister and her family are like 15 minutes from where we live. I mean, like we're all here, which is great because being the daughter of a Navy man, it was always just the four of us, mom, dad, Amy, and me. Yeah. So we've always been very, very tight. Like I see people do jokes about how they used to beat up their sister and now they're best friends. We never did that. Like my sister has always been my best friend. She's, I love that woman to death. And so it's so funny to me. I had friends from the East Coast come visit for meetings. And one of them pulls me aside and goes, dude, that's a gas station next door. I go, yeah? Well, there was like video poker, alcohol, and cigarettes in it.
I know.
And it dawns on you, oh, that's not everywhere? Oh.
I mean, did you see the new Smith's has bars in it now? I'm like, what?
Because, everybody needs a cocktail when you're going grocery shopping.
Exactly. Who doesn't need a cocktail when you need to go grocery shopping?
I'm just telling you, that's going to make them more money because people are going to buy more stuff randomly just to be able to walk around having the...
Exactly. Like, honey, I'm going to the market.
Like, I'm one of those people, I make a list and I leave it at home.
Yeah.
But I made it, so it's the thought that counts. My husband's like, where'd we get all this stuff? I couldn't remember what was on the list. And so I hadn't done that aisle. He's like, cool.
We're so spoiled here. Like I can't rave enough about Vegas.
I love it. Phenomenal town. And the military community here is huge. And the veterans community here is huge. And they have so many different groups of things that they do, which is great.
Yeah, and I love working with our military members, especially finding them homes because it's a different dynamic in every situation, right? Some of them are here for a few years. Some of them are here for long term. Some of them are retiring here.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice to be able to work with them. And I do feel of service when I'm working with military families because I somewhat do understand that dynamic too, know?
Right.
And so there's different things that you need to think about when you're buying a home, especially if you're here temporarily or if you're only here, deployed. So it's just a lot of different things. So I just enjoy it. I can't.
Well, and we talk about and we tout a lot and VA loans.
Yeah.
Because it still blows my mind how many veterans or active duty members do not have full comprehension of the VA loan, the benefit it is, what you can do with it, how you can grow. It's like, holy cow.
So many people, especially like recently, and I'm saying about 2 weeks ago, I had a conversation with a military member.
Okay.
And he had just enlisted about 2 years ago, he was going into his third year.
Okay.
And he's like, all right, I finally saved up for my down payment. And I'm like, but you don't need a down payment.
It's a VA loan.
It's a VA loan. Or people that are considering renting. I'm like, do you know that it's cheaper to use your VA loan versus going out to rent a property? I mean, it's going to be so much cheaper for you, especially in this market.
Oh, yeah.
So just going out there and utilizing the services that are on base and understanding or contacting realtors that are in that community, that is your best bet.
Oh, yeah.
Because they understand your situation and they understand all about VAs. So,
Oh, yeah. So another connection, we have Bill Gaylord.
Yes.
Has a whole thing.
Amazing.
He actually wrote a book on how military spouses could become mortgage loan officers because they understand.
Yes.
In a level and a way nobody else would. And I thought that was brilliant because that's talk about a career that you can be anywhere at any time to do anything.
Yes.
You know, that is another one and I'm all about
awesome.
the military spouse careers. People, I fight for them every day of my life. So the benefit of the job I have is that we have a whole program for veterans and military spouses in their career search. So
awesome.
It is something that it's nice to have a spouse come in who has a successful career, whether the service member is active duty or has retired or, because it gives hope to the other military spouses that maybe don't know if there's a chance.
There is. And there is. And there's Stevie, you have Stevie here. I mean but the one thing is, it is so important to know that there's so much opportunity there and just starting out in your local community can help a ton and can guide you and gear you. And there's no stupid question. Just ask the question.
Seriously.
Just ask the question. And there's especially if you're in Vegas, I mean, you have so many resources on base that can help for sure.
Oh, yeah. And if you don't know one on base, odds are somebody in town knows somebody who's talked to somebody who could go to a thing.
I mean, you're watching the podcast.
Right. I mean, it's that, and that was the whole point of it, getting the resources for them. We have the website with them on them. And we tell people, if there's a resource we're missing, let us know, because we want to make sure we get it on there. It is so cool to be able to get people on here to talk about their experiences. So someone else knows that's happening, that they're not alone, that, I mean, shoot, you reach out to me, I'll connect you to whoever you need. Let's do it. Let's get people so they're not stuck and having to deal by themselves. But the career path can change. But I will tell you that my mom started as a dental assistant. We moved every 2 years until I was 14. She and my dad were together. I mean, they got married in October 17th, 1970. So that's a lot of moving. She ended up working her way up from dental assisting to being an office manager in the dental field, even with having to restart her life again. I remember we were in Denver. We got stationed in Denver, and they didn't have any dental assistant positions available. So she went and worked administrative in the marketing department for the Navy because admin's admin.
Yeah.
So paperwork needs to get done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times, like, the spouses do get like discouraged just because of that movement, right? Like constant moving. But we live in a society now that a lot of things are remote and you can do so much more from just your laptop. And so those are the careers, and there's a ton of them.
Yeah.
And so it's just going out and like really looking for those. I think that's like the best, possibility for someone that's constantly moving.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many opportunities out there now, and there's so many companies. Company I work with is an international staffing solutions company. There are so many others out there as well that are just trying to teach our clients the value of what they can get and get them those candidates that maybe they didn't think to look at before.
Right.
So, they call it gold in the backyard. You never know.
Exactly.
You never know. Well, I appreciate you coming on here and just having this. So we got both sides of the story on it, because the perspective is key. That's awesome. And it is going to be two different perspectives on it. We appreciate you being here so much. I love to give my guests a chance to just kind of promote yourself for 2 seconds and tell them a little bit about you. So if they need some help, they can go to you.
Well, thank you for having me, Stevie, and thank you for doing this, because I honestly think that this is amazing. Like the podcast that you have and the outreach that you have with our veterans and even our active servicemen, like, and women. That's amazing. If you are in Las Vegas, or if you're thinking about relocating here to Las Vegas and you are in the military community, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure that I'll probably be tagged somewhere along here. But feel free to reach out, have an honest conversation about the move. I can definitely be super transparent of what's the best move in regards to neighborhoods and your style, and we can talk about all of that. But I'm more than happy. I'm here to serve you, because you obviously have done your job serving our country. So thank you guys for all of your service.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Darcy. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Say hi to Bobby for me. Give him a hug. All right, guys, you know what time it is. It's time to like, follow, share. We are on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. Oh, my goodness. We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. We're everywhere. Okay, we are everywhere. Looking for one of our resources? You're going to go to our website, homefrontharmony.org. If we're missing a resource, you let us know what we're missing. We will make sure we get it on there for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Faded photographs covered now with lines and creases, tickets torn in half.